Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to all. For this jolly season, I'm giving you the worst present I possibly could. An iceberg video. I'm sure the majority of you know how they work, but for those that don't, let me briefly explain. Each layer of the iceberg contains information, and the further down you go on the iceberg, the more obscure and often dark the information becomes. Now, what would be a good candidate for an iceberg for a Christmas special? If you would just ignore the title for a second, only the most dark, depressing, and downright evil iceberg I could find. I have lost countless hours of sleep working on this video. From researching the entries to compiling my findings in this video. Let me just warn you again, this iceberg is dark. So it's perfect for the holiday season. Now, before we dive in to the waters of this iceberg, let me just get our sponsor out of the way. This video is sponsored by Loan Shark. Use code Distraxx for 100% off your next loan, but then after that you're gonna have to pay double. Happy holidays! Now, with that out of the way, let's dive in to this dark and depressing iceberg. Ah yes, I forgot to tell you the name of the iceberg that we're diving into. This is the Ice Age Iceberg. Let's dive in, shall we? Ice Age baby. If there's anything you remember from the Ice Age movies, it's probably the baby and how terrible it looks. I've seen babies before. They don't look like this. This Ice Age baby fills me with a primal rage every time I look at it. Ice. Ice is the solid form of water, and is created when water is frozen. Now, what is the Earth mostly comprised of? That's right, water. Now, if the Earth were to get frozen, it would be covered in ice, which would cause an Ice Age. Sid the Sloth. Sid the Sloth is one of the three main characters of the Ice Age movie series, and he is depicted as being a Megalonyx, a large ground sloth from, of course, the Ice Age. Another fact is that Leonardo DiCaprio nearly voiced Sid the Sloth. Manny the Mammoth, the second of the three main characters. Manny is a woolly mammoth. Diego, the saber-toothed tiger. Diego is the third of the three main characters, and is, of course, a saber-toothed lion. The 8th highest grossing film in 2002. Ice Age was released in 2002 and made $383.2 million in 2002 money, which is equivalent to about $4 today. As the entry stated, this was the 8th highest grossing film of the year. The 7th highest being a wooden sign people mistakenly thought was the movie Signs. With that, layer 1 is complete. Before we head deeper, I'd like to give a word about our sponsor, Squimbless. Squimbless is the all-new money laundering mobile app video game that you can download on your phone and instantly lose over $10. Go to squimbless.com//Distraxx for 0.00001% off your next order. Thanks again to Squimbless. Now, back to the iceberg. Blue Sky Studios, bought by Disney. Blue Sky Studios was the studio responsible for the Ice Age films. In 2019, Walt Disney himself bought 21st Century Fox, and therefore, Blue Sky Studios, who were previously owned by Fox. This eventually led to Blue Sky Studios going bankrupt, and an Ice Age movie never being produced again. 20th Century Fox, the former parent company of Blue Sky Studios. I already told you what happened to them. Scary fish. There are two things this could be referring to. Either the strange, fish-like monsters from Ice Age continental drift, or more likely, Cretaceous from Ice Age the Meltdown, who is in fact not a scary fish, but a scary ichthyosaur. Baby Vulcan Salute Easter egg. This scene from the first Ice Age film is one that you likely didn't think about much as a kid. The gang walks past an iceberg and sees a UFO, which we will discuss in the next layer. But relevant to this entry is a strange salute that the baby does. In my research, I have discovered that this is in fact a Vulcan salute from Star Trek, meaning that the Ice Age baby is from Star Trek. Scrat is Jesus Christ of Nazareth. Scrat is commonly believed to be the god of the Ice Age universe. If this is truly the case, then Scrat would also have to be Jesus Christ of Nazareth, according to the official Ice Age novel, the Holy Bible. Nemo. Finding Nemo, the Pixar film from 2003, is known to have been the inventor of fish. Ice Age, The Meltdown, was released in 2006, and as we discussed, contained scary fish. Therefore, Ice Age is actually a sequel to Finding Nemo. Old Man Dies in Hole. In Ice Age 2, there is a quite old armadillo-like creature that states, "I was born in this hole, and I will die in this hole." Given the flood that happened shortly after, he likely did die in that hole. Scrat's species. Scrat is widely known to be a North African elk snail. At many points in the film series, you can see Scrat excreting his snail mucus all over. I'm not really sure why this is this low on the iceberg. This is common knowledge. Joseph the saber-toothed tiger. As fans of the graphic novels may know, Diego has a long backstory in which we meet his older brother, Joseph the saber-toothed tiger. In panel 98 of the second graphic novel, he is shown being ripped to shreds by Poseidon's mighty hands. This was done because Joseph sunk the city of Atlantis. Sid the Sloth, never mind. UFO. As mentioned in Layer 2, in Ice Age 1, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, we can see an UFO. This clearly means that all life forms seen in the films are evolved from aliens, and are in fact not animals. Wilson Arnett. William Will Arnett is well known as an actor in films as well as movies. He is widely believed to have been cited in Ice Age 2, Breaking Bad, but scholars are unsure if this is real or fishing. Anti-creationist propaganda. As we can see in this photograph, evolution clearly exists in the Ice Age film saga. This goes against the teachings of Jesus Christ. Food, glorious food. This song from Ice Age 2 is a reference to food, which was common in the production of this film. Many of the staff of Blue Sky Studios have come forward and said they ate food on the set of the Ice Age 2 film. Some even say they gave sandwiches directly to Manny himself. Ice Age on Ice. Ice Age on Ice is an annual musical event where the Ice Age creatures dance on ice for your amusement. Unfortunately, several tragedies have struck the production since its creation in 10 BC. As you can see in this colorized crime scene photo, there are many mammoths from Ice Age on Ice closing in for the kill on this smaller mammoth. This is why it has been shut down since at least 1932. Sid the Sloth. This is real. Leonardo DiCaprio voiced Sid, despite common belief that John Leguizamo voiced Sid the Sloth. In fact, Leonardo DiCaprio voiced him. John Leguizamo was only considered for the role, but due to scheduling conflicts with the live-action Super Mario Bros. Movie, the role was ultimately given to Leonardo DiCaprio. Well, Manny. This is Manny's wife from the Ice Age film Ice Age 2 Baking Bread. According to developer commentary, Will Manny was named as such because Manny was named Manny because he is a man, and Will Manny is a woman. Sid the Sloth pregnant. According to various pieces of art I found in the ancient caves of Google.com, Sid the Sloth has been pregnant at least once. This is said to have been a scene cut from Ice Age 4, Sid Gets Pregnant. Ice Age 6, Dawn of Soup. Remy dreams of becoming a great chef, despite being a rat, and a definitely rodent-phobic profession. He moves to Paris to follow his dream, and with the help of a hapless garbage boy, Linguini, he puts his culinary skills to the test in the kitchen. But he has to stay in hiding at the same time, with hilarious consequences. Remy eventually gets the chance to prove his culinary abilities to a great food critic. But is the food good? A Pixar animation. Human extinction. A common theory is that humans went extinct after Ice Age 1 because they are not seen in any of the other films. But this theory is clearly false, because if humans went extinct, how was the movie made? Saber-toothed tigers can't hold cameras. Nuclear radiation kills Diego. In a cutscene from Ice Age 6, Dawn of Soup, Diego was going to go to the site of the Chernobyl disaster. There, he would have encountered the elephant's foot and been subjected to a high amount of nuclear radiation, melting his skin and killing him almost instantly. However, this was cut to avoid scheduling conflicts. Storyboards have been found, which we're seeing now. Manny time travel. In this old photograph I found in my great-grandfather's collection, you can see what looks like Manny in this World War I era photograph. However, Manny died from the Black Plague in 1348, so he could not have been in this photo unless he time traveled to 1914. There was an Ice Age book in the dentist's office when I was a kid, and it was really weird. Did anyone else read that? Ice Age, The Adventures of Buck Wild. This is a classic case of the Mandela effect. Many people swear that there was an Ice Age spin-off film made in 2022 known as Ice Age, The Adventures of Buck Wild. But if you Google it for yourself, well, there is no results. Scrat Bruce Lee Apprentice. In Ice Age The Meltdown, there's a scene where Scrat fights several piranhas after they torment him and his acorn. In this scene, Scrat fights quite similar to Bruce Lee. Many have wondered why this is, but a little known fact is that from 1879 to 1988, Scrat actually shadowed Bruce Lee. A local newspaper once interviewed Bruce Lee about this, and this is what he had to say. "I don't know what you're talking about. What's a scrat? I've been dead for 30 years. How are you even interviewing me?" Ray Romano Manfred, while the other members of the Ice Age cast are well known. Manfred's voice actor is still a mystery. Many claim that his voice actor is American actor Ray Romano, but this can't be true because Ray Romano isn't a woolly mammoth. Scrat sex scene. In Ice Age 6, Dawn of Soup, a cut scene would have entailed Scrat having graphic, sexual intercourse with his acorn. Of course, this was obviously cut from the final film, but the scene was fully animated and ready to be put in the movie. So it's possible it's still out there, somewhere in the Blue Sky Studios archives. Ice Age 4 Continental Drift Arctic Games. This game, created for the Nintendo Wii, PS3, Ouya, Sega Genesis, Commodore 64, Fridge, and Nintendo DS, was created to have a tie-in game for Ice Age 4 Continental Drift. Reviews for this game were highly negative, and the game had nothing to do with the film. Sid the Sloth assassination. Sid the Sloth ran for US President in 1864, and was eventually elected by a landslide victory. However, his term was sadly cut short, as he was assassinated by a wild gunman only a few months later. This gunman was named John Wilkes Booth. Acorn is alive. In Ice Age 5 Collision Course, Scrat goes to space with his acorn. This itself is not unusual, as Scrat has been on many wacky adventures such as this. However, take a closer look at the acorn. Notice how it's wearing a spacesuit. If the acorn was simply just an acorn, there would be no need for this, as acorns do not require oxygen. But if it was alive, then this would explain this strange detail. Ice Age 7 Loss of Soup. The cancelled sequel and finale to the Ice Age saga. This film would have been a direct sequel to Ice Age 6, and according to many eyewitness accounts, the film was quite disturbing. This is likely why the film was eventually cancelled, and this led to the end of Blue Sky Studios. Scrat's Nutful Adventure. Scrat's Nutful Adventure is a lost Ice Age video game said to have been developed in 2010 for the Nintendo GameCube. This itself is odd, since the Nintendo Wii had been out for several years by then, and the GameCube was no longer getting support from developers. According to the developers, which were said to have been From Software, this game was, quote, "the greatest video game ever made. Humanity will bow down in awe at the majesty of Scrat's Nutful Adventure. When this game releases, a new god will be born, one made in Scrat's image." These cryptic words have been the subject of debate for years, as nobody is quite sure what they mean by "a new god will be born," as Scrat is already a god. Leonardo DiCaprio could have voiced Sid. According to the creators of the first Ice Age film, famous actor Leonardo da Vinci was considered for the role of Sid the Sloth before his tragic death on May 2nd, 1519. So, they settled for little-known actor Leonardo DiCaprio instead. But then he died to mysterious circumstances on May 3rd, 1519. However, leaked audio from Leonardo DiCaprio's recordings has been found, and I will be playing it for your listening pleasure. Be warned, it is a bit unnerving.
That is what it is, but none of these were charged to me. This is all of them.
Oh, that was all us.
It wasn't me, though. Fucking explain this shit to him.
Well,
These are all your fucking charges right here.
Shift of control on Arrakis, from House Harkonnen to House Atreides. In Ice Age 5 Collision Course, the Emperor of the known universe, Sid the Sloth, shifted control of spice production from House Harkonnen to House Atreides, deliberately causing war between the two houses, because House Harkonnen is infamously brutal and envious, and having control over spice production means lots and lots of money. This was so the emperor could eliminate both houses and take control himself. Basically, it's complicated. All right, it's complicated. The rise and fall of the Roman Empire. In 27 BC, the Roman Empire was founded. They remained the most powerful entity in Europe until the fall of the Roman Empire in 476 AD. But what does this have to do with Ice Age, you may be asking? Well, if we look at these photos, taken from when the fall of Rome occurred, we can see in the background Sid the Sloth. It's commonly believed by historians that Scrat and his acorn were the emperor of Rome at this time. But Sid the Sloth wanted to take power and become emperor himself. This, of course, culminated centuries later in the shift of control on Arrakis from House Harkonnen to House Atreides, an act done by Emperor Sid the Sloth. Duncan, Idaho, a character from Ice Age 8, Dune, is commonly believed to have been named after the US state of Duncan. Whether this is true or not remains unknown. Spice Harvester voiced Sid. Despite common belief that John Leguizamo and Leonardo DiCaprio voiced Sid the Sloth, in reality, the Spice Harvester voiced Sid the Sloth. This is actually pretty obvious if you really think about it. Manfred's true name, Manfred the Woolly Mammoth, is commonly thought to be named Manny, which is short for Manfred, but this could not be further from the truth. Manfred's true name is in fact Satan. In a scene from Ice Age 3 Dawn of the Dinosaurs, you can clearly hear Manfred cackle devilishly before saying,
"I am the devil, like from the Bible. You know, Satan. That's my real name, not Manfred."
This scene was later cut from future releases of the film, and it was only seen in the theatrical cut. Dennis Prager was in Continental Drift. Dennis Prager, of PragerU fame, was actually in Ice Age 4 Continental Drift. As you can see from this image here, he's in there, staring at you. He has no lines of dialogue, and many forgot that he was in the film at all. Why he's here remains a mystery to this day, and one we will likely never know the answers to. Dark Souls connection. We've already talked about how From Software developed the cancelled Scrat's Nutful Adventure, but there is actually a connection between the Dark Souls series and the Ice Age films. In Ice Age 3, Dawn of the Dinosaurs, there is a scene where Buck Wild is telling a story around a fire. Dark Souls features many bonfires. This clearly means that Buck Wild is actually the Lord of Cinder, the Thing. In remote Antarctica, a group of American research scientists are disturbed at their base camp by a helicopter shooting at a sled dog. When they take in the dog, it brutally attacks both human beings and canines in the camp, and they discover that the beast could assume the shape of its victims. A resourceful helicopter pilot, Kurt Russell, and the camp doctor, Richard Dysart, lead the camp crew in a desperate, gory battle against the vicious creature before it picks them all off, one by one. Also, Sid the Sloth is there. the Ascension. Diego was real. There is a popular fan theory that there is a character in the Ice Age films known as Diego, the saber-toothed tiger, but there is no proof of him in existence. However, I have found proof that he is in fact real. Take a look for yourself. This disturbed me quite a lot. When I first found it, the baby was dead the whole time. According to the historian Matthew Film Theory Patthew, the Ice Age baby was dead the entire time. I personally don't believe in this theory, but it is disturbing to think about. There is precedent for it too, as if you rearrange the letters in Ice Age Baby, you get Big Yak B. I don't know what this means, but I've been told that it means I am dead in ancient Sumerian. Sid is actually a sloth. Despite his appearance being a saber-toothed tiger, Sid the sloth may actually be a sloth. This is hinted at with his name, Sid the Sloth. A strange name for a saber-toothed tiger to have, but if we think about it, if his name is Sid the Sloth, then he must actually be a sloth. The scrat verse. There is a large amount of evidence that points to the Ice Age movies being the center of the multiverse, as every other fictional universe is connected to the cycle of Scrat chasing his acorn. But that's just a theory. The Ice Age was real. Please, for the love of God, do not research this. Of all of the entries on this iceberg, this is the one that has made me lose the most sleep. Ever since I researched this, a specter of Scrat has been haunting my waking moments. In my sleep, I see visions of Manfred, but his eyes are hollow and blood comes out of them, and he says, "You did this over and over and over." Now, I can only divulge a brief amount of information based on what I have found here. Any more than this, and I will be jeopardizing your safety. Now, 2.4 million years ago, there was supposedly an Ice Age in real life. The Earth pretty much got frozen over, and many of the animals seen in the Ice Age movies were real. I've kept this entry for last, due to how disturbing it is. If you get scared easily, please skip this timestamp to skip it. Without further ado, the final entry. The Ice Age was fake. The Ice Age, and therefore, the Ice Age film series, was never real. It was all just a bad dream in our collective consciousnesses. Wait a minute, collective consciousnesses? Oh god. It can't be.
Making the mother of all omelets here, Jack. Can't spread over every egg.
Ice Age was actually a sequel to Metal Gear Solid. This was all part of Senator Armstrong's plan to become President of the United States. This is clearly evidence that every single event and the entire Ice Age film saga was fake and staged by a shadow patrons. You see, turns out, scrat!
And with that, this brings the Ice Age Iceberg to a close. Despite the disturbing discoveries about the truths of the Ice Age universe we have made here today, I hope we can remember the good parts of the Ice Age films. They were a part of a lot of childhoods, including mine. I remember when I was a wee lad, watching Scrat chase that acorn of his. Truly, one of the moments of my childhood. But with that, I hope you enjoyed this video. Merry Holidays, Happy Christmas, stay safe out there, have a safe flight, and like and subscribe for less videos. Good night. I'm just going to be doing a proper outro real quick. Thank you so much for watching. I know this video is stupid, but it was supposed to come out like 6 months ago. That's about it though. Thanks again for watching. Like and subscribe if you want. Stay safe out there and have a good one.